Let's get into education matters now. The Gauteng Department of Education has vowed to implement safety measures at the Geluksdal Secondary School in Brakpan. Education MEC Matome Chiloane believes this will assist in the early detection of any disruptions. He's at the school following the killing of a grade 10 pupil yesterday. The learner was stabbed to death following a scuffle at the institution.
So from now on, direct, we ensure that we protect and secure the school. Provide every necessary protection that we can put for these learners. That in between schooling hours, this school must be known that it's not a playground. It's not a playground to take political chances where you want to grow and grow to defeat what you want to achieve here. So these learners of ours, we're going to put necessary protection, security that we need to put in the school, we'll increase it. We'll make sure that learning starts on time. Teachers are in class all the time.
The father of the deceased learner says he's devastated and heartbroken by his son's untimely death.
He was a good child. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But I love him so much. I don't know what I can do. But if the system was working for us, maybe my child will be still alive. Because no one helped me. Even the school itself. I was going to school every 2 months. Every and like 2 weeks or 2 months I'll be there at school. But nothing. They didn't help me until my child was dead.
And with barely 6 months into the 2023 academic year, that's just one incident that ended tragically. Another incident of bullying was also captured and shared widely on social networks at MEC Technical High in Geluksdal. We speak now to Steve Mabona. He's the spokesperson of the Gauteng Education Department. Mr. Mabona, thank you very much for availing yourself this afternoon. Perhaps let's give a little bit of context into what we just heard. So we saw the MEC promising to improve security at the school. What happened with this grade 10 learner? How did it come to be that he was stabbed?
Thank you very much, Dudu. Look, like as we've indicated earlier this morning, we encountered a sad situation at that school. To a certain extent that today there's no schooling in the entire area. School has been disrupted. There's now some, student organizations that are taking advantage of this situation. They disrupted schooling in the entire Tsakani area, which is quite unfortunate, because from where we're sitting, that if there's an issue, we should be in a position to attend to it as a department and all the stakeholders that are involved in that area. Yes, this incident occurred yesterday, whereby it started earlier, we are told, during contact time, where some learners decided to use a pepper spray, to inflict on the other learners, and they were actually reprimanded and they stopped. But then we understand that later in the afternoon, they came back accompanied by non-learners, 2 individuals, and allegedly one of those stabbed a child, and to a certain extent that the other perpetrator was then assaulted by the learners, allegedly, and is currently in hospital as we speak with you now. And the other suspect today, we saw learners went to a certain house in the area, and they indicated that they've identified one person that was the suspect there. There was a lot of commotion, and to a certain extent that police had to use the force a bit to scare everyone off. But they managed to, apprehend the suspect. They will then probably in a better space to tell us on what is it that they're going to be doing with that suspect. But we call for calm in the area so that on Monday, when learners come back to school, we are in the classroom, and they will then enforce all what the MEC has already indicated in terms of making sure that we enhance security at that school, make sure that everyone takes responsibility. Parents, we need to stop, perpetuating discrimination, because we see this discrimination than some are saying it's racism. We are saying it's discrimination, because if you're going to discriminate against Africans, and you are Africans, all of you, it's more like discrimination, and which is something that really we don't want to see in the community. So we'll be working very closely with that community. So MEC has already committed that he will, to a certain extent, also conduct what we call as unannounced visit, to go and check for himself at the school on how things are happening without them knowing that he will be coming at that school.
You call it discrimination. The father of the learner actually outright called it racism. So what do we need to understand about that? So what were the conversations that were had that led to the scuffle?
No, the discrimination they're talking about is more about, because, Geluksdal is a predominantly colored area from your previous Group Areas Act, those brutal legislation that were segregating people. So predominantly it's colored people that stays there. But because in communities we are diverse, then we are now living everywhere. You might be a majority in the area, but you might not be exclusively being there. That's the example that we normally make when we say in the previously white areas where we want to change and transform education, there you find a single medium school, the numbers not suggesting that it's only them that stays there. We need to transform. So we understand that to a certain extent, learners are saying they are discriminated. Those that are, African and, colors are still African, but where we come from. And hence we are saying that discrimination must not be perpetuated, because according to the learners, it's been perpetuated by parents and some organizations in that community to say they don't want black people, they must go to the township. And you don't understand what is a township, because Geluksdal is a township as well. So those are the things that we really need to work very closely with the community